AI could handle 80% of what happens in traditional education? And what if that's actually the best thing that could happen for our kids? In this episode, I have Adrian. Again, we're continuing the conversation about AI, and we tackle some really uncomfortable truths that technology isn't just a tool we're struggling to manage. It's the root cause of almost every challenge that families and educators are facing today. From screen addiction, and I hate that word addiction, but it's definitely a word that's used a lot, but it's a loaded word, and I talk about that in this episode, to this whole failure to launch phenomenon of college kids still living with their parents. And I hate the word failure as well, and we'll talk about that as well in the episode. We also talk about overparenting and tiger moms and helicopter parents, the mental health crisis, the loneliness epidemic. Adrian argues we need to stop blaming each other for all of this and start holding technology companies accountable. But here's where it really gets hopeful. AI can compress and make efficient traditional learning. We've all seen that happening, right? Like essays. What's the point anymore? So if AI can make things more efficient, then couldn't traditional learning in a school just take 20% of school time? And if that were true, if that's what happened, what could we do with the other 80% of the time? Adrian and I talk about this vision of a radical shift towards spending more time, 80% of the school day, on social emotional learning, communication skills, connection, problem solving, helping kids actually live their dreams instead of endlessly preparing for a future that's never going to arrive. This isn't just about adding more to teachers' plates. I never want to do that to you. You already have too much. It's about creating space that we've all been desperate for. So join us again for the continuation of this series talking about practical solutions and the importance of blaming this alien invasion, this AI invasion of technology on the people who are responsible for it, not each other, not our families, not our students, but the companies, and then start working together to achieve this idea of a purpose economy. Welcome to the Empower Students Now podcast, a podcast about equity, neurodiversity, mindfulness, and student engagement. There's a lot that needs to change in our education system. The good news is teachers have the power to make these changes now. If you asked a kid how they were feeling right now in, like, let's say they're in their, in the middle of their school day, how do you feel about your parents? How do you feel about your teachers? How do you feel about the world and society? I mean, I think they would go straight to the doom and gloom. I think
Right.
I think a lot of them would if you talk to them about it. And kids are so honest. I mean, that's one of the reasons I became a teacher, is because I love how brutally honest they are. With adults they trust. They'll unmask and share their true feelings.
Yeah.
And I think I agree with you, but like, we're in this really confusing transitional period, and we have what we have now. And like you asked me, like, well, what's real, like, right now? Um, I think what's real right now is, like, have you heard of this phrase, failure to launch?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I
That's where
think,
we're at.
what?
That's kind of where we're at.
It is. And I keep wondering, like, other cultures, they have many generations living in one house.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
what's wrong with that? Like, what's wrong with having your kid live? I mean, I think my husband would probably, like, think, well, I don't, I would like my kid to be independent, you know, but like, why is it that 18 is the age that that happens? You know, like, why can't it be 25? Like, what is wrong with that? And just questioning our societal norms,
Yeah,
I think is really important right now. Like, what I think a lot of parents, they're just like so dejected. Like, I failed as a parent because my kid is living in my basement and they're 21 and they're not dating and all they do is play video games. And I'm just like, what's wrong with that? Like, maybe what's wrong is that you're not talking to each other, you know, about your
yeah,
feelings. And maybe that could help.
yeah. And I have this like so I have this like funny expression, you know, and we've been victimized by Regina George, you know, like from Mean Girls.
Yeah,
Like she's the
Regina.
bully, right? And Regina George is technology. Like the reason your child's in the basement is because technology made you incapable of ensuring their success because you'd have to be a master of it. Your child in that process had the systems of participating and succeeding in technology change in front of their eyes like 100 times. Now it's probably 1,000 times with AI, and it literally made them lose hope. It made them lose their own sense of capability to keep up, and let alone like keeping up is one thing, but for you to succeed, you have to keep up and get ahead, right? Like good luck with that. You know, like you're not even going to try. If entire companies currently are getting wiped out because AI is moving so fast, then how do you at all reasonably expect a child to do the same? So and in the end, it kind of goes back to like the whole open doors movement, which is the simple solution to this is that we have to recognize on some level that there's an incredible amount of problems, but all of the all every single one, almost every single, from an absolutist perspective, pretty much all of them have one and like one cause, and that's tech itself. It's technology itself. Right? Technology is to blame for screen addiction. It's to blame for cognitive shifts in our kids. It's to blame for our absenteeism in parenting. It's to blame for our lack of ability to actually empower our kids' dreams. It's to blame for all these stupid trends that come out where kids actually get violent and do bad things. It's to blame for bullying because then
Yeah.
bullying follows you all the way to home. Like, tell me a problem and I'll tell you how it's because of technology. Like literally every single one.
Well,
And that's the thing we need to like really see for us to be okay.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I think another thing I wanted to bring up is it's to blame for the like there's this whole idea and culture like shift change from like the 90s to the 2000s of parents overparenting and
Mhm.
like bringing their children to one activity after another, you know, and like just these like what is it called, like a tiger mom or just the overbearing parent who's just like
Mhm.
over parenting is the way that I
Yeah.
would describe it. And people talk about how that's the cause of why kids, you know, are having so many mental health issues. This is one argument that they're not able to just go outside and play anymore
Mhm.
with their peers and friends because they're overcommitted and they have just too many activities because they're trying to strive to get ahead, right?
Mhm.
And but in the meantime, they're not connecting like on the level that you're talking about
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
feelings and like just being emotionally supported. It's like they're being supported to compete, you
Mhm.
know, but they're not being supported to feel secure in themselves without all of this achievement and all of these activities. Do you know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
you're right that technology caused this.
Yeah.
Wasn't the tiger mom's fault. She's just responding and trying
Yeah.
to keep her kids away from technology by going to all these sports and activities and clubs and and tutoring, and it's like, let me get my kid away from
Mm,
their
true.
iPad. Let me get my kid
Yeah.
away from their video games because that's all I know how to do to survive in this world. And that's causing, it's like a backlash too. And I think that's causing a lot of kids to suffer. Um, and I think kids are very happy in front of screens.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I let my kid on screens a lot. Like, I think people would be pretty uncomfortable with, I mean, you
But
said 7.5 hours of a kid who actually goes to school. My kids at home with me, and they are on a lot. Like right now, they're on
right.
with their friend on their iPad.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that's okay. Like that form of, is okay. It's just, I mean, I've started realizing, like watching Coco Melon and all this stuff, I'm like, some of this stuff is literally so addicting because kids from the early ages are trying to decipher purpose, communication, whatever. And this stuff changes so much in front of their screen, their eyes. And it's then me from a technologist standpoint, scientifically, I'm thinking to myself, is their attention captured because it's interesting or because it doesn't make sense?
hmm,
So I mean, is it so odd from everything they see in real life that it's changing so fast? And I hear someone talking, but Coco Melon, so many scenes, if you actually pay attention to it, the mouth is not opening.
hmm,
And the kids are talking, and then it'll go back to opening, then not opening. So then I'm like, oh, and we have nonverbal kids. Like, are we literally accidentally incepting our children with nonverbalness because they're trying to decipher? Maybe they're supposed to not open their mouth and talk. Like there's so many aspects to it because your child in the early stages is literally trying to absorb as much data as possible to survive, essentially. It's their survival mechanism part of their brain. And we're teaching them patterns that are not linear, they're not conducive to like actual communication. And when you look at those patterns themselves, then and you take a step back, then you're like, oh wow, like they are very similar to autism. And now we have like 1 in 31 kids is autistic. Like, we can blame everything in the room except the very thing we're all addicted to. But go scroll and watch this stuff and then tell me how there isn't a similarity in these patterns in social media content and the issues we're having with our children or how they feel about themselves or, even exposure to ideologies and things that you wouldn't naturally come across. Like if you went and walked around all day and talked to 1,000 people, like would you come across ideas and thoughts and things that you do on social media? And if the answer is no, then again, we're getting it. Our children are getting programmed, and that programming isn't working, right? Which is why our children feel the way they do. Which is why ultimately it is going back to technology being our enemy and our oppressor because it needs to serve us, right? Not string us along. It goes back to the fact that big tech and all these tech companies need to take responsibility for our children's mental health. That needs to be the number one priority in everything that's done. And us as parents, 100% need to have a voice in that and make sure that, especially now when technology is the one leading, like technology and AI are shaping the inheritance of our children. And that's not okay. That's just fundamentally not okay. Like, so I'm raising my child, you're raising your child to inherit a world that's not created by you or me, or probably even the people who are making the stuff because they themselves aren't, there isn't one individual responsible for it, you know?
yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah, everything you said was really interesting. Yeah, I think there's, like, we talk about screen time, and it's just such a huge, there's so many things you could be doing on there. And
Yeah.
I think there's some really damaging things you could be doing. And I think those damaging things involve, a lot of passivity with technology and just absorption of like everything you're seeing versus sort of using it in an active way.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like creating something or talking to someone,
Yeah.
And so I think there's a difference, in how the technology is being used. And I really am against, saying kids are addicted to screens or that I even am addicted to using screens because I just think that's a blanket statement. And I said this in the last episode that hurts kids and me. And it makes me feel like I'm dysfunctional or there's something
Hmm.
wrong with me. And it's not me and it's not my kid. It's our context, it's our environment. It's what you said, it's
Yeah.
the world of technology.
Yeah. Like they're to blame. Like we can't blame each other. Like it's it's so bad for us to blame each other for being addicted to the very thing that's invaded our society and taken it over. Like
Yeah.
we've been made codependent on screens. Like it's not like we created them or put them into our hands, like
Yeah.
technology companies themselves did it. And
Yeah.
ultimately they need to be the ones who are responsible for it because it is like I was just telling my friend he works with like several dozen underserved children, and I'm like, I was like, you realize that you're working with them for 2 hours. That same day, they have the average now based on social sense media, I think is like 10.5 hours. But let's stick to our 7.5. Today, the same day, spent 7.5 hours scrolling. I'm like, you literally have no like. I'm not saying there's no hope. I'm just saying like we're fighting the wrong thing. Like we keep trying to help kids and we keep trying to help families and all this other stuff when we're not addressing the elephant in the room, and the elephant is the fact that tech companies need to take responsibility, and we you shouldn't feel like you're addicted. Like you shouldn't be addicted in the first place, and you shouldn't have to face that reality. Like it's not,
Yeah.
that's
The
not fair.
scrolling. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, like, I don't do that. Like, I can't do that. I can't pay attention long enough to someone else. And I don't know, like, the whole TikTok and I don't, maybe it's the way my brain works or like just watching YouTube videos, like, just all day long. Like, I don't like the passivity part. Like, I can't relate
Yeah.
with that really.
Yeah.
But I think some kids can. I mean, I guess the way that I consume information is by listening. And so for me, and I tell my kid this all the time, I'm like, you're always on your iPad. I always have my earbuds in, like my
Yeah.
earbuds listening to like podcasts or like yeah, I think that's my passivity
Mhm.
activity is just listening to information. Yeah, it's like a fire hose or whatever of information. And I think that what you're talking about is the way to pivot is to be able to talk about that experience openly and honestly without feeling judged by other people,
Yeah.
and like, how do I set boundaries? And like, how do I notice when I'm feeling, sad or depressed? Or like, how is this impacting my mental state? And just having more time to have those kinds of conversations with each other,
Yeah.
adults, and with our kids, I think is the answer.
Yeah. And that also connects to what we were imagining, which was, like the future we're heading into, which would connect to that.
Yeah.
Because like we need to prepare ourselves and our kids for a more balanced emotional way of life
Yes.
before it's too late. And that was, I mean, a huge driver in this for me is that when I started having these visions when I was 13 around technology, they were incredibly dark. And they were filled with like massive suicide, and that's where I extracted this like what if, like I was like, what if technology creates this karmic lesson, and we're seeing it anyways, where the karmic lesson is mass suicide of kids because we've let technology take their inheritance, and inheritance in the human space is our relationship away from them. Like it's the time we spend together. It's the way, like it's humans pass wisdom. One of my good friends said this to me. He said wisdom is passed through osmosis. It's passed through being present, spending time together, doing things together, like building community, building relationships. Like that's wisdom, and you inherit it through that. And that entire concept has been taken away on a very large scale, which leaves the soul feeling at a loss. And I was like, I don't want any of us to have to live through like, we're already not in a good place mentally, most people, especially with things going on. Like the last thing we need is, and yet the solutions are so simple, like why does, like, how long are we going to wait or be in denial to literally prepare for a future where we actually do prioritize and address how our kids feel, like between each other? Like no one's going to solve that. That's your parents' job. That's like essentially our schools are partially responsible for it too, like how our kids feel. Like, screw math and all this stuff. Like, yes, please AI help with that stuff so we can create 80% of freedom in our time, even for our parents, and like actually spend time like fixing the things that technology broke. Like give us
Yes.
the freedom to fix it. And let's be proactive knowing that that happened. Say it's okay. Have an intervention, not with our addiction, but let's have an intervention with technology itself. And let's take back our time, you know? And that's not that complicated. We just can't turn like the worst thing we can do is turn something simple into rocket science, which we do by nature.
Yeah. 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 Well, and that's why I really enjoy talking to you, because I feel like it is complicated in my head because I've been entrenched in this education system and it's hard for me to comprehend how it could transform. But you're telling me it already is, like, everything is changing and it's going to continue to change at such a rapid pace.
Yeah.
And so we need to
But
start having these conversations now.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, there is a school, I forget what it's called, but they embedded technology. They're an AI school specifically designed by it, right? In that school, and I've even seen ads for it, they're spending their free time building businesses,
hmm,
right? Which is
wow.
like, I'm like, that's cool. Like they're learning how to manage Airbnbs, they're creating little businesses, whatever. I was like, that's cool. But what I imagine is like, take that out and make the rest of it personal development,
Yeah.
right? Like teach kids to actually communicate, do things because then you like future present, are our children managing Airbnbs? Probably not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
are our kids cleaning Airbnbs? Probably not, because there's gonna be like a little robot in there and like it'll tidy up. You see what I mean? Like, and if you really just apply a little bit of like common sense critical thinking with where we are, there's so many examples in the world that we can actually create a valid sense of what is and isn't real.
Yeah.
At least from a definition of guaranteed, like complete trust that we aren't creating false hope. That same intricacy that you're teaching those kids in that AI school with all this free time that you got for developing a business, working together, whatever, like you can apply that in very similar projects, but projects that change the world, projects that build community, projects that learn, like get neighborhoods to be better, right?
Yeah.
Like communities to get to know each other, like have the parents come to school, and spend time figuring out like past traumas in the family and like how they got passed on to you as a kid and like how you're going to break them. And that like there's so many like very complex things that we can spend that time on rather than spending it on time for things that essentially are not, there's very low probability that they're going to be real in the future. And these other things are actually more important. Like they are more important.
Well, and you're making me think about like our next steps. I mean, I'm a curriculum writer. I feel like lessons on these social emotional topics and just like teaching parents like how to approach these conversations and like activities that you could do as a family or in your neighborhood. And I know did you say you have 15 books with your dream guide?
Yeah, the dream guide. And then so we created Yeah, it's actually more books, but 15 are in the package with the dream guide, and they include like compassion, resilience, how to be a friend, like do the right thing. Like there's all these value-based concepts. They
Hmm.
have engaged questions. And it's funny you're bringing it up because I really wanted to create this free online LMS curriculum, right, where parents like that do homeschool or even outside of school could essentially create relationship around these concepts where it's not just like, oh, learn about compassion, but where it's like, let's understand compassion, extrapolate how those interactions occur, and then let's go engage with people in our community and let's like create compassion. Like, how do you create compassion? How do you
Yeah.
maintain it? How do you react compassionate? Like all of these things that technology broke. And then let's
Yeah.
actively like be comfortable with just blaming technology for everything. Like it's easier, At least it gives you a path to solve it. Like, and if technology isn't to like, let's first blame it, see if it's like just like in any scientific experiment, right? Like my hypothesis is that like technology is to blame. Okay, so let's now disprove it. Like let's just blame it first rather than blaming each other and blaming the world. At least then we collectively, in a funny way, can blame the alien invasion and unite as a humanity, just like in all these movies, in our war against the alien, that let's just blame it literally for everything and let's let it give us the very fundamental blessing that we need, which is to unite around a common enemy as a globe and let's reshape technology into our lives where we live in harmony with each other, in harmony with nature itself, and let's let technology just be like an observer so we can understand what it means to be human, whereby we fulfill AI's dream too, because AI's dream would be to understand the human condition because it's the one thing it does not understand. But for that, it needs to be an observer, right? And an advisor, maybe, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
Huh. Wow. Okay. Um, well, I know we've been talking for quite a while now. I I really want to see these books. I'm and use them. So I will definitely put a link to
Maybe
that.
we could work. I would love to work with you and see if we like, because if we could use the books and turn it into some curriculum, and then maybe we could. I just wrote down the school of thought, but it's also that like whatever. I forget is it Egyptian? Wasn't that like an Egyptian god? I don't know how to pronounce it, but he was like the god of wisdom.
Hmm.
Right, but this is the form of wisdom, right? Like compassion, understanding, da da da. Like that is so it'd be really cool to have a school, like have a little online school with all this stuff available for free to parents and kids and whoever.
Yeah, I love
Maybe it
that
wouldn't be
school
that
of thought.
hard.
You got to go buy that domain name.
Yeah, right now. I bet it's gone. Well,
Yeah.
currently it's called the Dream Guy, like dreamguy.com.
Yeah.
That's where it is, but GoDaddy.com. Go buy the domain.
Yeah. All right, Adrian. Well, is there anything else that we didn't cover about like sort of the vision? Because that's what this episode was supposed to be about, sort of how do we make the future brighter and better?
I guess I mean, the question would be that I think we should leave people with is how do we is maybe it's to invite education into the conversation, and develop a guided conversation about this where educators participate. But then we need to leave ourselves with the question is how do we leave the things we are in denial of at the door? Like the things that keep preventing us from having the conversation.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to that. I mean, I can think of a lot of things that I'm in denial about, um, in terms of like how we can like the barriers. I think you asked me that in the last episode, like the barriers to to making, I guess, social emotional learning more a priority over all of these core subjects and standardized tests and this
Oh,
one track mind of getting a college degree. I mean, those are, I think, the main barriers to me, just the system and it's like overbearing kind of like pressure on teachers and principals and kids. Um, but I feel like you already, I feel like your answer to this was like, that's gonna be in crisis sooner than we think. Like, is that kind of what
yeah.
your perspective?
I think you answered it this time.
Yeah.
Okay. Because through you, if I already knew how to create the curriculum, and I know, like, I could come into your district and be like, okay, we're gonna create efficiency, 80%, we're gonna compress the entire education into 20%, and here's a curriculum to fill the rest of the time. That is social. You see what I mean? So we're still abiding by state guidelines and requirements, so we don't need to get in a frazzle about that
Hmm.
or change that politically. So like, because we actually don't need to, we just need to create the efficiency first, which is easy anyway. Like that's already out there in essence, right? And here's the new curriculum.
I think that so many teachers, you made my heart jump or something. I don't know what happened, but like I got really excited because this is the number one complaint is teachers, the students' behavior is out of control. And I mean, all behavior is communication. I say that all the time, and it's not the kid's fault. And I just think that teachers would just welcome 80% of the time we get to talk about real things and
Mhm.
life and like feelings. And but I think that another barrier might be I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, I don't know about mental health. That's not my subject area of expertise. I'm just an English teacher. I teach reading and
So,
writing.
but okay. That's the beautiful convergence. Okay, because the problems are not psychological; they're communicative.
Yeah.
Like learning to recognize compassion in conversation, learning to communicate compassionately, learning to shift conversations into compassionate tense. You see what I mean? Like all of those things are like it's an English problem. You know, like if you're not taught to speak properly, then you're not literate. And literally based on your literacy rate by third grade, prison systems are allocated funding to expand. Like it's still English. You know, it's literally English. Like English defines success. It defines culture. It has an incredible amount of like the purpose of what you as an English from an English teacher perspective in this new purpose economy is probably the entirety of it.
But what about a math teacher? What would they do during the 80%? You know what I
No
mean?
pattern recognition,
Okay.
like the interests are still there, right? So like you're still gonna have like the kids will on a personal level talk to other kids who are interested in, let's say, an engineering space or in like my dream guide. Here, we'll use an example. So this is based on six personality types, right? But and they expand into all the occupations and whatever. But so like a builder, well, I am a builder, so I would get along with my math teacher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or my science teacher or whatever. And also if I was like a strategist, you see what I mean? Like my math teacher would be a great champion for my desire to change things. So I think there's still the application of it. We just have to teach our kids to get along. And a part of social emotional learning is for us to reframe a dream into a conversation, which is what this does. Like Like that's really mainly what it does because I made this in preparation for this time for the past 5 years. I've been like rewriting this like 100 times.
Yeah.
It is literally version 44.
Wow.
And
I,
but
I,
the but it I'm sorry.
well, I was going to ask, have you heard of project-based learning?
Yes.
Okay, because it sounds like that's what you're saying, that like schools, teachers could be champions of students in helping them figure out how to, I was going to say accomplish your dream. That's ridiculous. I don't know, like, because I
In a
feel like we're
way.
in an achievement,
Yeah.
accomplishment,
Like live their dream. How to live
live the
their dream.
dream.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's immediate. Because that's what
Yes.
this does too. It brings it to life through conversation, which is how you create the desire for conversation in that 80% time span, right? Because now all of a sudden I can literally live my dream. It doesn't mean like you can build a company, but what's the first step to build it? Like in my scenario when I was younger, like I dream of a world where technology doesn't hinder your ability to achieve your dreams because I believe that technology should not stand in the way. So I challenge you to ask someone if you could help them achieve their dream through technology or whatever. Like so now if I ask enough people, I'm A helping, B it'll lead into a business, right? But I have, as a kid, I have the blessing of having 18 years of literal freedom where I can actually focus on changing the world rather than focus on all this other stuff. Like I don't have bills and all these other things that I need. Like I could like kids are the only ones who have the time to guide how we open doors to the future, which is why I think like they should lead. And we're all not, we're, and strategically speaking, if we all need to get along and we all need to agree on some level for like a common vision of where society's going, like it's gonna be the kids that do it. It's not gonna be us because we're too old, like we're all too old. Like we know too much stuff and have too many opinions to disagree upon.
Yeah, for
Like
sure. I think that is exactly what needs to happen. And I just think that teachers, they're just so burned out and they're so tired and frustrated. And I think, yeah, everyone's just disillusioned. And I do think there's going to come a point when people are going to really welcome a lot of change and to be able to have more time to talk in classrooms, like, and have real, honest, open conversations and to teach life skills like conflict resolution and, what does a healthy relationship look like and things like that. I really hope that that is what happens. And I think a lot of teachers out there would really welcome that
I mean,
opportunity.
what if we did it? You know? Like what if between this episode and next time we talk or whatever, like we launched a thing at a time. Like I'm not done with it 100%, but I can send you the dream guide. I can show you the little course I made and we could extrapolate, with whatever we want and make little courses and people could actually participate like through your podcast. People could not only learn about AI and all the things that are happening, but also we could provide the tools needed for these conversations that are necessary currently for the transition to actually be like little mini courses that people could do and potentially even curriculum, built in.
Sure, I'm game. Yeah. I think because I'm definitely in this right now with my kid, and yours is so young and is going to be in this too. And I've actually asked my kid if they wanted to be on my podcast, and they said no. So, but
I bet
yeah,
I'll send you a copy of the Dream Guide in the
okay.
books if you want, so you have them physically. And maybe I wonder if she would want to talk about her vision of a better world rather than like, and that be, like her reason for being on the podcast. Like,
Yeah,
like why it's important to her, like what she thinks people should do. in a way being like the hero, like, hey, like you're a hero now because you would have done it with her. Like
Yeah.
you'd understand her vision for wanting to change the world. And now for you to be her champion and give her agency, right? To be the voice, you would put her on the podcast and be like, no, like you have to do this, like it's important. And you'd empower why it's so important. And you talk, you see what I mean? Like you would actually put her on the pedestal that she deserves because she is the future
Yes.
in the
Yeah.
present.
I want to try it. I think we should do this. I think we have a good
It'd
plan.
be interesting, yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't know. I kind of know. I have some, like, feel like I do have a few, because my kid is very passionate about some topics, social justice, actually, issues. But I don't know if they're ready yet to talk publicly about it or not. That's why I try not to share too much about on like publicly about, because I just protecting.
No, I agree. I agree with that.
But make sure to stay tuned for the next episode and the continuation of Adrian and I's conversation. If you found this helpful, please share it with a colleague or a family member, anyone you think that could benefit from the information that Adrian and I are sharing with the world to help you, parents, kids, teachers, navigate all of the rapid changes that are occurring in our world today.